Okay, welcome everybody. So we're going to begin, and we'll start by I'll light the candles, and then after we bow to the shrine and do a short chant, then I'll have Luang Por give some welcoming greetings to you all. Grab. Yoso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho suwakato yena bhagavata dhammo supatipanno yasa bhagavato sawaka sangho Dhammayang bhagavantang sadhammang sasangang ime hisakare hiyatarahang aropite hiyapipujayama sadhu no bande bhagava sujira parinibhutopi Pachima janatanu kampamanasa ime sakare dugatapana karapute patigan hatu amhakang dikaratang hitaya sukaya Arahang samma sambuddho bhagava buddhang bhagavantang abhivade Suwakato bhagavata dhammo dhammang namasam Supatipanno bhagavato sawaka sangho sanghang namah Andamayang buddhassa bhagavato pupapaganamakarang garomase Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Grab. Dream grab Kruba Ajan. Grab.
Welcome everyone. Good to see so many people out for this Kathina. It's a first time in 3 years that we've been able to gather, and I think it kind of emphasizes or is made a bit more apparent to us how important it is to have our good spiritual friendships. During the time of the pandemic, then there was varying abilities to and opportunities to gather and meet with each other, whether it was family or friends or in this case with the monastery. So that as it changes, I wouldn't say it ends, but as it's changing, then there's this more of an opportunity to be able to gather, and you realize that our connections with our fellow practitioners, our fellow Buddhist companions in this path that the Buddha gave us is just incredibly important. Because the ease with which we just slip into a habit of not bothering it's really easy, and to be able to engage in a wholesome way, a skillful way, is just so important as human beings. So being able to gather today there's just so many familiar faces and people who I've known for a long time, and some new people. I met some people who were a little bit newer, and it's sort of it's a say the community is a mixture of people, so that being able to gather and to meet each other and encourage each other in these living a skillful life. I mean, people don't come to the monastery to make trouble. When you there's all sorts of opportunities to do that elsewhere. So when people come to the monastery, they want to be on their best behavior, which is, especially as a Buddhist monk, I get to meet people always on their best behavior. So that's it's a blessing for us. But it's also a blessing for each other, in that drawing out each other's goodness is something that we can do, and you realize we need to have that experience and have that reminder that is possible, so that just to express delight and welcome everyone who made the effort to come today. It's great to see sort of a whole range of people. There's little infants. There's little infants here. There's young children. There are young people, and there's a couple old monks here. But it's of course, the oldest person who's here is my mother, and she's 99. So she made the effort to come. And so it's just wonderful to welcome everyone and just have that kind of mixture of human beings in one place, determined to do something good for the day. So delight in your goodness, and we will have a Kathina ceremony.
We'll begin with some Paritta chanting.
Vipati pati phahaya sapha sampati siddhya sapha dukkha vinasaya paritang prutamankara. Vipati pati phahaya sapha sampati siddhya sapha phaya vinasaya paritang prutamankara. Vipati pati phahaya sapha sampati siddhya sapha rokha vinasaya paritang prutamankara.
Call the devas.
Tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi Dhammam saranam gacchāmi Sangham saranam gacchāmi Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi Dutiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchāmi Dutiyampi Sangham saranam gacchāmi Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ saranam gacchāmi Tatiyampi Dhammam saranam gacchāmi Tatiyampi Sangham saranam gacchāmi. Ojakuma mohamala pakato sammang vabuddho สุขโตวิมุตโตมาราสปัสสะวินิโมจายันโตปาเตสิเกมังจานตังเวนัยยังบุตังวรันตังศิรสานามามิโลกาสนาทันจาวินัยคันชทันเทจะสาเทจยสิริโหตุสาบันทรายาจาวินาสเมนตุธัมโมดัจโจโยวิยทัสสะสาตุตาเสสิโลกาสวิสุริมากันนิยานิโกดัมมัตราสดาริสัทธาวะโหสันติคารโรสุชินโนธัมมังวรันตังศิรสานามามิโมหะปตาลังอุปสันตตาหังคันเทจะสาเทจยสิริโหตุสาบันทรายาจาวินาสเมนตุสัทธัมมเสนาสุขตานุโกโยโลกาสปะปุปะกิเลสเจตาสันโตสยังสันตินิโยจักโกจัสวะคาตตัมมังเวริตังคโรติสังกังวรันตังศิรสานามามิพุทธานุพุทธังสมัสสิลติติกันเตจะสาเทจยสิริโหตุสาบันทรายาจาวินาสเมนตุนะโมอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะมะเหสิโนนะโมพุทธมะธัมมาสัสสวะคาตาเสวะเตนิดานะโมมหาสังฆัสสะปิวิสุทธัสสิลติติโนนะโมโอมาตยาราดาสรัตนะตยาสสะดุขังนะโมโอมกาติตาสตาสวัตตุตยาสปินะโมคาราปปาเวนะวิกาจันตุอุปาดวะนะโมคารานุภาเวนะสุวัตติโหตุสัพพดานะโมคาราสเทเจนะวินิมิโหมิเตจวะเสวนาจะปาลานังพันดิตานันจะเสวนาปูจาจะปูจนิยานังเอตัมมังกลมุตตมังปฏิรูปเดสวาโสจะภูเมจะกตปุญญาตาอัตตสัมมาปณิริจเอตัมมังกลมุตตมังปะหุสาชัญจะสิปัญจวินโยดัสสุเสกิโยสุภาสิกาจยาวาจาเอตัมมังกลมุตตมังมาตาปิตุปาทานังพุทธจาราสสังฆโหอนาคุลาจะคัมมันทาเอตัมมังกลมุตตมังทานังจรัมมจริยาจัญญาตกานังจะสังฆโหอนาวาจานิคัมมานิเอตัมมังกลมุตตมังภารติวิรติปาปามาจะปานาจะสัญญโมอาปมาโดจะธัมเมสุเอตัมมังกลมุตตมังการโวจะนิวาโตจะสันตุติจะกตัญยุตาคาเลนะธัมมาสวนังเอตัมมังกลมุตตมังคันติจะโสวจาสตาสมนานันจะตาสนะคาเลนะธัมมสกาจาเอตัมมังกลมุตตมังทโพจะพรหมจริยัญจะอริยสัจจานตาสนังเนปานสัจจะกิริยาจะเอตัมมังกลมุตตมังพุทธาสโลกตัมเมหิจิตัญญาสนกัมปติยโสกังวิรจังเขมังเอตัมมังกลมุตตมัง เอตาดิสานิคาตุวานัสสะปัตตมปราจิตาสัพพัตตโสทิงกัจฉันติทันเตสัมมังคลมุตตมันติเนทัญชะสัพพโลกัสมิงมานะสัมภาวเยอปริมาณังอุทังอโตจติริยัญชะสัมปาดังอเวรังอสัพพตังเอตัญชรังนิสิโนวะสยานโนวายาวตาสวิกตมิโตเอตังสติงอริเตยพรหมเมตังวิหารังอิดมาหุติติงชานุปกัมมสิลวะตาสเนนะสัมปันโนกาเมสุเวนยเกตังนาหิจาตุกาปเสยังปุณเรติติยังกินจิวิตังเอตวาหุรังวาสาเกสุวายังรัตนังปณิตังนโนสมังอาทิตตากเตนะอิดัมปิปุเตรัตนังปณิตังเอเตนะสัจเจนะสุวัติโหตุกายังเวรากังอมตังปณิตังยะดาจกาสักยมุนีสมาหิโตนะเตนะธัมเมนะสมาธิกินจิดัมปิดัมเมรัตนังปณิตังเอเทนะสัจเจนะสุวัติโหตุยัมบุนะเสโตปริวานาอิสุจิงสมาธิมานันตริกัญญมาอุสมานินาเทนะสมโมนาวิจติดัมปิดัมเมรัตนังปณิตังเอเทนะสัจเจนะสุวัติโหตุเยปุกลาอัตตสตังปัสสัตตาจาตาริเยตานิยุกานิโหติเตตาคิเนยาสุกทัสสะสาวกาเอเทสุดินนานิมหาปลานิดัมปิสังเกรัตนังปณิตังเอเทนะสัจเจนะสุวัติโหตุเยสุปยุตตามนัสสะตาเลนะนิกามิโนโกตมัสสะสนามิเตปาติปัตตาอมตังวิกายลาตามุตตานิบุติปุญจมานาอิดัมปิสังเกรัตนังปณิตังเอเทนะสัจเจนะสุวัติโหตุกินังปุรานังนวังนาติสัมภวังวิรัตจิตตายติเกภวัสมิงเทกินะปิจาอภิรุลิชันดานิปันติเดรายทายัมปริโปอิดัมปิสังเกรัตนังปณิตังเอเทนะสัจเจนะสุวัติโหตุทุกขปาตาชนิทุกขพยาปาตาชนิพยาโสกปาตาชนิโสกหันตุสัพเพปิปานิโนเอตาวตาจะหัมเมหิสัมปทังปุญญสัมปทังสัพเพเทวานุโมดันตุสัพพสัมปติสิทธิยาทานังดาดันตุสัทธายสีลังราคันตุสัพพดาภาวนาภิรตาหุนตุกาชันตุเทวตากตาสัพเพบุตาปลาปาตาปัจเจกานัญชยังปลังอรหันตานัญชเตเจนะราคังบันดามิสัพพโสมหาการุณิโกนาโตหิตายสัพพปานินังภูริตวะภารมิสัพพปะโตสัมโพธิมุตตมังเอเทนะสัจวาเจนะโหตุเตจยมังกลังจยันโตโพธิยามุเลสักยานังนันวิวาดโนเอวังทวังวิจโย Rupo Ijaya Sujaya Mangale Aparajita Palanke Sise Patavi Bhokare Abhiseke Sabapudana Agapato Pamodati Sunakatang Sumangalam Supapatang Suhuditang Sukando Sumuhuto Jasuyetang Brahmachari Subadakinam Kaya Kamang Vaja Kamang Padakinam Mano Kamang Panidite Padakinani Kawana Labanta Te Padakine Bhavatu Sabamangalam Rakantu Sabadevata Sabaputtanubhavena Saraswati Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabamangalam Rakantu Sabadevata Sabadhammanubhavena Saraswati Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabamangalam Rakantu Sabadevata Sabasanghanubhavena Bhavena Saraswati Bhavantu Te.
I don't know how everything's happening on time today. Those are, for those who might not know or might be new, those are protective chants that have been done over the last 2+ millennia in Buddhist monasteries, and providing blessings and protection for people. They're protection, and they're also reflections. They're also Dhamma reflections taken from the Buddhist teachings. So it's a good way to begin any ceremony. And moving on, we'll do the 5 precepts, and I'll hand the mic over to Yom Sumana. Are you here? Is she here? Okay, maybe Chow can do.
Mayang Pante Ti Sarana Saha Panca Sila Niyajama Tutiyampi Mayang Pante Ti Sarana Saha Pancasila niyajama Tatiyampi mayang pante Tisrane nasaha Pancasila niyajama
Jadai. Okay, so having requested the refuges and the precepts, people can follow along. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. พุทธังสรณังคัจฉามิธัมมังสรณังคัจฉามิสังฆังสรณังคัจฉามิดุติยัมปิพุทธังสรณังคัจฉามิดุติยัมปิธัมมังสรณังคัจฉามิดุติยัมปิสังฆังสรณังคัจฉามิทัตติยัมปิพุทธังสรณังคัจฉามิทัตติยัมปิธัมมังสรณังคัจฉามิทัตติยัมปิสังฆังสรณังคัจฉามิติสารณกัมมนังนิทิทังปานาติปาตาเวรมณีสิกขาปดังสมาธิยามิอาทินนาทานาเวรมณีสิกขาปดังสมาธิยามิกาเมสุมิชฌาจาราเวรมณีสิกขาปดังสมาธิยามิโมสาวาดาเวรมณีสิกขาปดังสมาธิยามิสุราเมรยมัจจปมาดฐานาเวรมณีสิกขาปดังสมาธิยามิเอมานิปัญจสิกขาปดานิสีเลนะสุขติยันติสีเลนะโภคสัมปดาสีเลนะนิพุตติยันติตัสมาสีลังวิโสทะเย
Okay. Having done the Paritta chanting and the Samathan scene, the determining of the 5 precepts, now we are ready for the Kathina ceremony proper. And so before you all do your formal offering of the Kathina cloth, the way this is going to work is I'll read an announcement about the history of the Kathina, and then that'll be the cue for let's see, yeah, that's right. There'll be the Pali offering announcement, call and repeat, then the Thai, then the English. And so I think the Pali and the Thai, that would be, that's going to be Chow again, I think. who's here, and so after I do the announcement, I will call on Chow to do that, and then after that would be Kate's cue to take the mic. So you could go up next to him after he's doing that. So I'll cue you both when the right moment arises. And so without this Kathina announcement that I'm about to do, I remember being very moved by it when Ajahn Amaro first did it when I was here as an Anagarika, as a Pakau. I was here 21 years ago, and I was very moved by this. So I thought, oh yeah, that's always a good thing to read. Never want to let that fall by the wayside. And after all of the lay people do their formal offering announcement, that's when the two chanting monks would then come up after that, and then the cloth would then be offered to them on behalf of the sangha. So I'll remind everybody every step of the way, so we can do it. So the Kathina ceremony announcement. Before the Kathina ceremony begins, we would like to take this opportunity to explain a little about its origins as a Buddhist custom. The offering of Kathina cloth by the laity to the bhikkhu sangha is a tradition which has been carried on since the time of the Lord Buddha, more than 2,500 years ago. It was established as a ceremonial act to celebrate both the relationship between the laity and the sangha and the spirit of concord within the sangha itself. It was first allowed by the Lord Buddha to a group of 30 monks who were observers of many of the austere practices. They had wished to spend the 3 months' rains retreat with him, but having been unable to reach the monastery where he was staying in time, had to spin the rains nearby. They regretted their missed opportunity, thinking, "The Lord is staying close to us, but we are not getting a chance to see him." Nevertheless, they passed the 3 months harmoniously together and, as soon as they could, despite inhospitable roads and continuing rain, with drenched robes and in a state of weariness, they made their way to Savatthi to see him. Perhaps by way of encouragement and to reward their noble efforts, it was after receiving them that the Kathina ceremony and its privileges were established by the Buddha. The Lord Buddha laid down many stipulations in order to make the offering of this cloth and the sewing of it into a robe an act of great importance to both the laity and the sangha. It is an offering that can be made only once a year at any one monastery, and only where 5 or more bhikkhus have spent the rains retreat together. The cloth must be clean, freely given, and its donation must not have been instigated by the monastic community in any way. Once it has been offered to the bhikkhu sangha, it must be cut and sewn into a completely finished robe during the course of that same day. Customarily, all the bhikkhus of that monastery participate in the sewing of the robe. In this way, it becomes an act affirming the harmonious and communal nature of the sangha. Once it has been sewn, it is then offered to one bhikkhu decided upon by the sangha as being worthy of the gift. For the laity, the Kathina offering is a symbolic expression of their faith in the sangha and a reaffirmation of their eagerness to cooperate harmoniously together in order to provide for its material needs. According to the Lord Buddha, the Kathina cloth is the most meritorious of all material gifts that can be made to a sangha, bringing superlative benefits to those who have offered it. The sangha and the laity are now all assembled. If there is to be a Kathina ceremony, then this is now for the time for it to begin. So I'll pass the mic to Chow again. Keep it on. Keep it on. Good. Everybody could start with Namo Tassa together. Actually, you can bow behind first.
So we start with grab 3 crowns first. Okay, everyone, we can start with grab Sam Krang. Okay, bow 3 times. ต่อไปก็จะเป็นคำถวายผ้ากฐินนะครับเดี๋ยวว่าตามหรือว่าเดี๋ยวว่าตามนะครับนะโมโอเคตั้งนะโม3 ครั้งนะครับนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะอิมังพันเตสัปปะริวรังกฐินะจีวรทุสังสังคัสสะโอโนชยามะสาธุโนพันเตสังโฆอิมังสัปปะริวารังกฐินะจีวรทุสังปฏิคันหาตุปฏิฆะเหตุวาแต่ว่าจะ sorry อิมินาทุเสนะกฐินังอัตตารตุอัมมหากังทีฆรตังหิตายะสุขายะข้าแต่พระสงฆ์ผู้เจริญข้าพระเจ้าทั้งหลายขอน้อมถวายพระกฐินจีวรกับทั้งบริวารทั้งหลายเหล่านี้แด่พระสงฆ์ขอพระสงฆ์โปรดรับผ้ากฐินจีวรกับทั้งบริวารทั้งหลายเหล่านี้ของข้าพเจ้าทั้งหลายรับแล้วได้โปรดกรานกฐินด้วยผ้านี้เพื่อประโยชน์และความสุขแก่ข้าพเจ้าทั้งหลายสิ้นกาลนานเทินสาธุ We'll do the English, yeah, okay. Thank you.
We have all gathered here today to offer Kathina cloth and other requisites to the sangha. We request that the sangha receive these offerings of Kathina cloth and other requisites for our long-lasting benefit and happiness. We wish to dedicate the well-being
for the well-being
coming from our offering to our relatives and friends, and particularly to our parents. May all beings be happy.
So before the before the cloth is formally received, I'll just explain a little bit about what's happening here. Is that there will be, traditionally what we do is the two bhikkhus who receive it on behalf of the sangha will then bow, and also the recipient of the robe will sit there, and then what happens is all of the cloth is offered one by one, and then other monks will, the recipient monks will be handing it off to other monks who will then take it and place it back on the mats, but then it'll be in its offered state. And they, once all the cloth is offered, they will then do a formal announcement naming the names of various Kathina donors and formally bestowing the robe. After that, the anumodana is given and the sewing begins. So if I could have the recipient monks then bow 3 times to the shrine, and then when you get to your seats, we can bow 3 times to Luang Por. So at this time, the Kathina offerings then would be brought up one by anybody who has the cloth to offer. Time people would pick up the cloth offerings, come forward, and they would be placed on here and formally received by the sangha. So whoever wishes to begin, yeah, it can be brought up. We do that offering before we do the chanting here, so that offering happens first. I'm sorry? No, I think that has to be first. That one, no. Yeah, that one's first. Yeah. Somebody has to get it started. Yeah, you can go. Okay, we do need to probably, everyone can come up in a line, one by one. No need to be shy. please be careful not to wander too far after you make your offerings. The main part of the ceremony takes place after all these offerings. Okay, that looks like all of it. Is there anybody else with cloth to offer? If there's nobody else, then we'll go into the formal Kathina announcement.
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. This Kathina cloth and all the offerings present here belong to Wipawari Sukchalun Sub Tirachat Sang Suradet, Pong Satan, Juntakon and family, Dr. Jung Suk and Nim Pangsapa, Chitima Pangsapa and Hui Hata Gitjamran, Nosok Lee, relatives and friends, Chalita Andrew and Alicia Lee, Sopita and John Soroch with Pon Plang Sri Sakun, Sandi Tala and family, Tram Bill, Tony Unpamonchai and the C Tai team, Regan Urbanik, Florence C. and friends of Dharma Realm, Weena Tirapanut, Junvilai Kochawat, Chao Pulapat, Laksana Chuan Pia, Supapan Sri Tun Yaluk, No Duyen family and friends, and all the other faithful and generous lay people who have gathered together for this occasion. This offering is being made to the sangha, which has spent the 3 months rains retreat in this monastery. This Kathina cloth has come in as pure and unsolicited a way as if it had been wafted here on a breeze and settled in the midst of this assembly without favoring anyone in particular. However, the Lord Buddha has made a provision whereby the sangha can agree to choose which among them they would like to receive the cloth. This person must be one who knows the rules and observances concerning the Kathina ceremony according to the terms laid down by the Lord Buddha, and must be one who can recite the aims and purposes of the Lord Buddha's teachings. They should be pure in moral conduct and have the mindfulness and wisdom to be able to understand the Dhamma in all its facets. This, then, is one who can fulfill all of the Lord Buddha's stipulations concerning the offering of the Kathina.
So the assembly of bhikkhus must come to a unanimous decision as to which among them is best suited to receive the Kathina cloth.
This Kathina cloth and all these offerings have been considered suitable for Jnanako Bhikkhu. He is a bhikkhu of mindfulness and wisdom and can perform the Kathina ceremony correctly, as established by the Lord Buddha. If any bhikkhu here disagrees, he should raise his objections now in the midst of this assembly. If everyone agrees, then they should express their agreement by saying sadhu in unison. Sadhu.
So at this time, we will bow to the senior monk, the three of us will, and then we'll return to our seats, and then the Kathina Anumodana will be given.
Okay, so the sangha will give their formal anumodana, blessing chant. Before that, just to let people know that we've, well, one of the lay people, Chow, made a bunch of blessing cords, and we've had them on the shrine for this whole couple of weeks actually, and they've been chanted over, and then other lay people got in and got excited and made other blessing cords, so that we've been adding to them. And I thought that say at the end of the at the time of the break, I'll put them out by the green Buddha, and then if anybody would like blessing cords for themselves, for friends and family, feel free to help yourself. They will be there. And then we will do the blessing chant, and we'll have a closing chant, bow to the shrine, and then have a bit of a break and stretch your legs, and then don't wander off too far. There is a Dhamma talk. Ajahn Viradhamma will be giving a Dhamma talk, and then if there's anybody left after that, I will give one as well.
Yeah, I think it'll be a 15-minute break, so come back about 2:30 to start the Dhamma talks.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and then and at this time, then once we've done the bow to the shrine, then the monks are going to take the cloth off and start the whole process of sewing, and then through the afternoon, if people are around, they'll be able to poke your head in and see how it's going. Okay, so we'll offer anumodana. Varivaha pula paripulenti sakarang evameva etotinang petanang upakapate Ichitang matitang tumhang kipameva samichato sape porrendu sangapa Janto panara soyadha mani chotira soyadha
Abhitiyo vilachantu
Sabba rogo vinasatu Mate bhavadvandarayo sukhitayuko bhava Abhivatana silisani changuda pachayino Chattaro Dhamma vadanti Ayuhano sukham Phalang
Kale datande sapanya vadanyo vitamachara
Kale nadinang hariyesu ujubhutesu tarisu Vipassana manatasa vipola honti dakina Ye tata anumodanti veya vacham karonti va Na te na dakina o na te pipunya sabagino Tasamadadea patiwana cito yatadina mahapalang Punyani paraloka saming patita hondi paninanti
Bhavatu sapamangkalang
Rakantu sabhatevata Sabba Buddha Nubhavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakantu sabhatevata Sabba Dhamma Nubhavena Sada Soti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakantu Sabba Devata Sabba Sangha Nubhavena Saraswati Bhavantu Te.
Thank you, everybody. This is quite wonderful. And there'll also be another ceremony this evening for whoever is still around. Who knows what time it's going to be. It depends on how long we finish our hand-sewn robe. There is another ceremony in here. Sometimes it happens at 9 p.m., sometimes 10 p.m., sometimes 1 a.m., sometimes 5 a.m. It can't really happen after 5 a.m. But, we'll see.
Arahang Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Suakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammam Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sangham Namami.
Grab Kuba Ajahn a cup. Grab. Sadhu. Oh, yes, yes. Before we go, Yom Nong will announce the donations for this year's Kathina so far.
กราบนมัสการพระอาจารย์แล้วก็ญาติโยมที่เคารพนะคะ Here we will have a total, the sum up of the Kathina donations, the total altogether from Thailand and also from America, in US dollars, $308,000. $308,000. 000. And the donation from Thailand is 8 million baht. We also have some of the Yad Yom also sent wire directly to a Bayagiri in US dollars, which is 211,000 US dollars. สาธุสาธุอนุโมทนาทุกท่านนะคะ
Okay, we'll invite people to come into the hall or outside the hall, and there'll be a request for a Dhamma talk, and Ajahn Viradammo is willingly will give us some reflections. So please come to those who are interested in the Dhamma talk. Please come into the hall or around the hall. Those who aren't interested, please go away. Or at least don't go away, but be a little bit distant. So yeah. Okay, great. Things are settling down very quickly. Now, oh, Paul, give me a signal when should I just go ahead? If someone gets up, right? Would someone like to request the talk? Yes, please. Yeah. There you go. Might be lying. Okay, so if requests for the Dhamma talk will be happening. Please, people could come in and settle down. If you're outside there having conversations, if you could move the conversation elsewhere, that'd be very helpful. It's not coming out. The sound's not coming outside. Huh?
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, something like that. Can't remember. Sound, can someone hear me outside? Not so clear? Come on in. Make it easy. Can you hear me out in the hallway there? And the chairs back there, you can? Okay, that's good. There you go. 1, 2, 3. How are we? Yaniko, can you hear me? Woo! No, you can't hear me. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. Wonderful ceremony, yeah? Very beautiful to come together and hear the good words of Luang Por and others. So, first of all, I'd like to express my gratitude to Luang Por Pasano and Ajahn Nyaniko and the sangha here for your gracious hospitality and your diligent practice, and all the lay people who make this place possible. It's unique. I live in a kind of little island called Tisarana. It's a little Buddhist island. Well, this feels very metropolitan to me. Kind of like it's a Buddhist city. It has a whole lovely different vibe to it. So congratulations to create this kind of sanctuary that engages so many people and so much goodness. It's a real, well, we all know that. It's very rare. It's a gem. So anumotana. And then because I'm a senior monk, I get to fly all the way here. So I flew from Ottawa to San Francisco, and this is this vast continent that I flew across. And then in end of July, August, I drove with our steward. I didn't drive, I rode. He drove to Newfoundland to greet Luang Por Sumedho, who flew from Ottawa to St. John's, Newfoundland. And we toured Newfoundland for almost 3 weeks. Which is really, really cool, really, really nice, because he's a beloved friend and teacher, and to be with him in this kind of end phase of his life, he's still very, very vibrant. Is a great honor. And then we drove back. So that trip, we had to drive because we couldn't rent a car in Nova Scotia because of COVID, because of complexities. But That trip was 5,200 kilometers. Do you do miles or kilometers here? Miles. It was a lot of miles, many miles. And then flying across here. This is a vast, vast continent. And yet, there are not that many spiritual communities, I think, that are so vibrant and so significant. This is a vast area. Lompo was saying, so we're very, very fortunate, obviously. We're very fortunate to be here. But Lompo was saying that as a senior monk, he has the privilege of engaging with people in the very, very best behavior. I have the same good karma. But it's interesting when you engage with people who bring out the worst in you, isn't it? Because not everyone can be Lompo Pasano, and not every moment is a moment in the monastery, and the moments in monasteries sometimes also bring up other things. So it's very important to have occasions where we can express generosity, where we can feel what Dana Paramita is about, that it's such a uplifting and important part of the spiritual life. And then to come together with Kalyanamitta and be inspired by Dhamma, to come face to face now after COVID. These are very important things, because we're social beings. We're not isolated particles in space. So we have a time of inspiration, a time of moral reflection, a time of sharing beautiful flowers and beautiful food with beautiful people. And then we go back to our lives, to the ordinaries of our lives, to the challenges of our lives. And we all know that it's not easy. It's not easy being a human being. That quite often we face people who are not nice, who are not moral, who want to take advantage of us, and yet we have to live in a real world. But to become like someone who is manipulative and cruel, I wouldn't want that either. I wouldn't want to join that sangha. I don't want to call it a sangha. So we are challenged, and Lompo Cha would. I always remember this one. At Wapapong, we'd have a work period in the afternoons, 2 or 3 hours of sweeping leaves and hauling water and such like. And Lompo would sometimes say, "Why do you monks always just hang out or work with the monks you like? Why don't you work with the monks you dislike?" I said, "Well, obviously, because I don't like this guy. Why would I work with him?" He said, he was pointing to the fact that maybe there's something to learn from this monk. I don't think I ever did it that much, to be honest. But you don't really have to seek out difficult people. Difficult people seem to seek you out. Such is life. So the way Lompo Cha taught was that the person that triggers anger and the situations that trigger anger are the situations you learn about anger, obviously. Obviously, the situations that trigger anxiety and fear are the situations where you learn about anxiety and fear. How could it be otherwise? I mean, it's sort of very obvious. We don't have to seek it out. It'll come. It'll come. The situations that teach you about old age are the aging of the body, the sickness of the body. And so Lompo Cha said, face that right on. See that person who presses your triggers is Virajan. Sorry. Don't tell him that. Right? But if someone, I think the first Dhamma talk I gave Lompo was Ajahn Yung. Yung is mosquito. I couldn't speak Thai, and so Lompo Cha was always messing about with us. So I said, "V, you give a talk." I don't know what to say. So I knew Ajahn, and I kind of knew mosquito. So I gave a talk, Ajahn Mosquito. And it was true, because I really hated mosquitoes. And I still don't love them. but I've learned not to kill them and learned to be a bit more patient and use mosquito nets too and mosquito repellent. Now we have a lot of Ajahn Jungs in life. Right? We have people who do trigger things in us. And if the situation is safe, and that's very important, that if a situation is unsafe or burnout or overwhelming, then somehow we have to get out of the situation because we don't really have enough mindfulness. You need mindfulness to really understand how these things work. But there's much of life that, although it's very, very challenging, we can have enough space to witness things. So that's what we're always doing in meditation. We're developing the witnessing consciousness as we meditate. So you're meditating and you start to get some pain in your leg. You learn to witness pain. Not to hurt yourself. You can move if you want. But you learn to see that pain is an object in witnessing awareness. You can know that. You can worry about it, which is okay, but you can also witness it. And that's the beginning of freedom. Because now, although there's physical pain, you know it won't hurt you. You know you'll be able to sit through it and just patiently observe it. And whereas before, you would move all the time if you had discomfort, you begin to witness discomfort and you find a silence or a peace in the mind irrespective of comfort or discomfort. It's independent of comfort or discomfort. And that's really a neat kind of insight, because you see that the peace of the mind is not dependent on the situation. Now that's easy. That's easy. But those easy lessons are very, very important to do. So what I always recommend folk to do is learn to, I use sound a lot, listening. Learn to listen and learn not to engage with the sound. So what do I mean by that? Well, let's say, like if I'm just listening now, I let the sound come to me, then I notice the mind is silent in the listening. So listening is very receptive. And listening is a good synonym for awareness, because awareness is very receptive. So if I train myself just to be with sound, but not be judgmental of the sound. So like let's say if I'm talking now, and maybe Yom Id over there starts talking or something, and I get irritated, then I'm going out to the sound. Be quiet. Stop doing that. Yeah? I leave that to Lompa Pasana then to adjudicate that. But if I just notice, oh, irritation feels this way. This sound is irritating, and I just stay with witnessing, then the tendency to go towards irritation and annoyance falls away. I'm not feeding it. Sound is still the same. Sound is still the same. Oh yeah, and I'm just witnessing. So when you do exercises like this, you begin to develop the capacity to know the world without reacting to the world. And these are simple exercises, but if you do them a lot, what it begins to do, it sort of develops a capacity not to react, I would say. A capacity not to react. So then you get in more complex situations. So as I was saying to a friend, you go to work, and there's some character that pokes you. You know, he calls you stupid Buddhist, or some kind of insult, or is domineering, or whatever, and you have an emotional reaction to that. We all do. This is your Ajahn. Now, if the person is abusive, then you go to your manager and you say, this is abusive, don't do that. So I'm not saying you just are a sort of a Buddhist doormat and say, oh, please step on me. No. But in the course of events, this happens. People are rude to us or whatever. And if we're developing the witnessing consciousness, witnessing, oh, rudeness feels like this, we'll see our reaction towards anger, towards blame, and we don't follow the reaction in thought, we just feel it in our bodies, then the tendency towards anger begins to fall away. So I become adept at the understanding of anger. I become adept at the letting go of anger. Now the letting go of anger or fear or worry or whatever it is, letting go does not mean that you don't feel it. Letting go is that you don't think it. There's a difference. If I'm anxious about tomorrow, let's say Tuesday, I have to take a flight to Canada, and I get anxious about the flight. I can't, why I get anxious? Or let's say there's a COVID outbreak in the middle of Dakota or something like that, and I get anxious about the plane, and I've done everything I can, then there's a difference between the feeling of anxiety and the thoughts of anxiety, right? It's different. It's different. Just like if I hear a sound over there, I think, who's talking there? Who are they? That's not the sound. That's my thinking about the sound. So letting go, or non-attachment, or ploy wang, is fully feeling life, but not getting caught in the thinking, in the storyline. And if you notice the storyline, it's always egotistical. It's all about me and them and me and them. Whereas the feelings in the body of anger or fear, whatever, they are as they are. They're just natural phenomena. They're neither good nor bad. They're uncomfortable or they're comfortable. Yeah, they're not pleasant. Some are pleasant, some are unpleasant. But just the very feeling of being annoyed is simply a feeling, just as a sound is simply a sound. This takes great attention. It takes a lot of care to actually notice emotion as it is, because we either want to get rid of it, we want to distract, or we want to blame. So one of the things that happens, of course, is that because we're not always with Lompa Pasano, and there are people who draw out of us the negative parts of our lives, because we do have that. They draw out of us pettiness, or maybe jealousy comes up, or anger, or fear. And they're the triggers for that. Then one of the ways to kind of play with that is say, what if Lompa Cha was sitting next to me? How would I react? You know, if Lompa Pasano was sitting beside me, I'd really behave myself. So you kind of bring in the Ajahn, you bring in the Buddha. And we played with this, me and a good friend Nick Scott, we did a walk across, we traveled in 1990, I think, from Poland to St. Petersburg. My parents are from Latvia, from Eastern Europe, and I'd never been there, and I wanted to see, and I can speak a bit of Latvian. So we took local buses, and we went through Belarus, and then we ended up in Lithuania. And on that journey, we kept meeting all kinds of strange people, because we looked pretty strange too. And I don't think the Latvians had ever seen a Buddhist monk before. A lot of them were kind of, what is that? And so we decided to use a game. We played a game. And whenever we saw someone who was coming at us in a strange way, we say, that's Indra. Now, you know who Indra is? Indra, in the god, in Buddhism. Indra is a god who tests people. Right? So the Indra maybe... And Indra has many functions, I think. I'm not a good in mythology. But Indra kind of dresses up as a poor person and then tests the rich person, or so like a trickster. So it was a really fun game, because as this person was coming at us, that's Indra. And then, okay, what can I learn from Indra? What can I learn from this person? Or this is Lompa Cha teaching me. What can I learn from that? That changes your mind from this is an enemy that I have to destroy, or just being constantly reactive. Because if we're just reactive through our habits of greed, hatred, and delusion, then we are victims. We're total victims of life. We have no freedom. We might have circumstantial freedom, like we come here and it's comfortable and so on, but as soon as the circumstances change to something more complex or difficult, we just react through the same ways. There is no freedom there. There's no freedom. So it was really quite fun. And walking across Latvia, we were once it was very hot, and we were carrying backpacks and sleeping out and so on. And a couple of policemen came, and we said, oh, here comes Indra. And like they'd never seen these chaps, and I didn't have my robes on, I just had a bathing cloth on. So I kind of in my heart said, hi, Indra. And they were great. And they gave us a lift about 40 miles down the road because we were just walking. Really good. But consider that like, okay, let's say you have to go to work Monday. What day is today? Today's Saturday. Sunday? We probably have to go to work Monday. And there's probably someone in the office who you'd really not see again the rest of your life. Maybe. or someone somewhere, right? Now, as that person approaches your consciousness, as that person comes into consciousness, the first reaction, oh God, there he is. Oh no, I just can't work here anymore. That's already a victim. You're already a victim. You're not even there yet. And that's memory. That's what memory does. It's just a memory and a perception. It might be very valid. The person might be quite manipulative, and you do have to be careful. You have to be streetwise. But still, you could say, all right, I'm going to try to use this situation, now the social situation, to actually observe how the emotions arise in consciousness. Now that's witnessing. Not dismissing the real need to be streetwise, but now I'm going to use this person as a teacher. Now if you have a situation where it's not life-threatening or dangerous or in all of that, it's just annoying and it's kind of safe, which is what a lot of monastic life is like that. It's not dangerous, it's not safe. I mean, it is safe, I think it is safe, but it's simply very boring. And something just annoying, someone just annoys you. You end up like sitting next to a monk that you'd never have related to before. And what that does, it brings out a kind of limitation of the mind, a bias, a prejudice, or whatever. And then you think, I think I'll go to another monastery. No, that's not going to work. And they say, no, this is my teacher. This is teaching me about this lack of empathy I can have with this person. This lack of compassion. Why am I so judgmental? So then you witness. So the person comes into your field of consciousness, and then you feel, oh, judgment feels that way. Or it might be anxiety. Anxiety feels this way. And as you do that, the witnessing consciousness becomes stronger than the emotions. And as the witnessing consciousness becomes stronger than the emotions, you see, actually, that's very peaceful. The emotions will never be peaceful. Sometimes, sometimes they're nice, but they just do what emotions do. Emotions don't do peace. They do excitement, they do worry, they do anger. But the silence of knowing or the witnessing is not an emotion. When I feel an emotion, I feel it in my body, I witness it, that witnessing is not anger or fear. It's not happy or unhappy, it just knows. And that knowing, that witnessing, that silent being is something we're always trying to pay attention to, because that's our real home. This is what Luang Por Chah would say. Your real home is not the emotional world. Your real home is that silent knowing, puru, as we say in Thai, or the one who knows. When Luang Por Sumedho says, it's like this, those of you who might have been listening to his talks, he's been saying that constantly, year upon year. It's like this. Now, if you really use that as a witnessing mantra, then what does it do to you? Well, it makes you pay attention to the present moment. If you just agree, it's like this, Ben Yang Nieng in Thai. You use that a lot in Thai, yeah? Ben Yang Nieng. Well, of course Ben Yang Nieng. It can't be any other way. It is like this. But if you actually use that, and this is the idea of the awakened mind or witnessing consciousness, you have to awaken to how it is. So when Luang Por says to us, it's like this, he's asking us, okay, well, what is it like to feel anger or to feel upset? Or what is it really like to be like that? And as you do that, you see, well, the emotion changes, but the witnessing doesn't change because it's always there, it's always available. So peace is not kind of getting rid of anything, it's understanding things. The beauty of this kind of practice is that as you witness greed, hatred, and delusion as objects that come and go, and you no longer indulge in the subjective thinking, I hate you, or I'm a terrible person, I shouldn't have hatred, I should always have loving kindness, that doesn't work. Who can have loving kindness all the time? Right? Sometimes you just hate. Why not? Like, is it really that bad to hate? Do you have a choice? You can say to yourself, I'm not going to hate anyone for 2 weeks. Good luck. Because hatred is not yours. It's a condition that arises through stimulation. What's problematic is believing in it. So problematic is believing in it that you shouldn't have the hate, or that it's the other person's fault, And that's believing in it as a kind of fixed reality. But knowing it, oh, this is the Dharma of anger. Anger feels this way. Is not a judgment against it. By precepts, yeah, we practice right speech. We practice not engaging in it. That's our moral duty. But inwardly, as we witness our lives, if we begin to see something like fear, say, as I always talk about my own fears as I say this a million times, but I've only got one story, so my problem wasn't so much hatred, although there was plenty of that too. It was more social anxiety and fear and that kind of thing, and self-hatred. And as I witnessed it over the years, then I wasn't feeding the fear. And it's this feeding or nurturing, which we mean, like in the Pali you have the word upadana. Upadana means attachment, but it also means fuel. So let's say, go back to anger. Let's say anger arises, and then you think angry thoughts, or you hate yourself for the anger, then you're fueling, or you're giving food to more anger for the future, correct? Right? So the word nibbana is about cooling, or no longer fueling anything. Same situation, the anger arises, now you're witnessing it. Ooh, that's really tight in the stomach. My breathing's really shallow. Maybe I make my breathing. You witness it. You know it. You know it. You know it. You're no longer feeding it. You're not saying you should not be angry, but you're no longer believing that the anger is someone else's fault. You know anger as an object in awareness. And then the anger begins to cease. It begins to fade. So I found that very true with fear and anxiety, social anxiety and so on. I just witnessed it and witnessed. But it's not fun. It's not pleasant, right? There's nothing nice about it, but it is very important. It's very important. So if you see life that way, that those things which trigger off suffering, and you see this is my chance to develop barami, that's what Lompo would say, that these situations of challenge are my partners in developing barami, my ajahns, you see it that way, then it's no longer like, there's no longer... All of life's difficulties become purposeful, right? So even the situation that produces anger has purpose in it, has meaning in it, because this is where I'll actually understand that. And how else will I understand that? By running away and living under a rock. Good luck. So then we have the freedom which is not dependent on position, place, not dependent on any situation. Then we can enjoy the beauty of this situation. But then we're no longer bound by this situation because the heart's free. It's not really bound by those things. Obviously, we can also develop very wholesome characteristics, and that's what I was saying in the beginning of this talk. Developing like generosity, moral integrity. These are a huge foundation for this other kind of work. Thinking wholesome thoughts about. I had a lovely mom, and I was with her till she was 96, and so I created, when she died, I created a shrine for her. I have a picture of mom, I have flowers and candle, and I have some of her ashes there, and I constantly light the candle, all the time. When the candle goes out, I light it, and each time I just focus on my mom's picture, and that brings up love into the heart. This is important too, because there's much of life which is very, very uplifting and beautiful, and we need to engage in that too. Otherwise, if it's just about the negative stuff, it's very, very hard. So beauty is important. You know, the beauty of a skyscape, like the beautiful views from here, and the trees. The beauty of a child's playing the recorder. So these kinds of things are, I would say, they're about mudita. You know, we have a capacity to experience beauty and joy, and it doesn't have to be just attachment. It uplifts the heart in a very significant way. When I see these flower arrangements, I say, "Ooh, sadhu, isn't that lovely?" So I can rejoice in that goodness. That uplifts the heart. So anything that we do in that way, the sense of open-heartedness, generosity, moral integrity, It gives us a sense of like a platform that helps us very, very much in dealing with these more difficult things. Luang Por Chah used to, like one of the things when, as young monks in Thailand, I was talking about this last night I think, but we were very keen, we were really kind of gang ma kind of monks. I think we were, weren't we? So we're, really like lots of practice. And Ajahn Chah would he would just tell me like, well, give it 5 years and, you might feel a bit better. I think, well, 2 years, I should have this done by then. But no way, Jose. It's a marathon. It really is a marathon. But if you see it that way, that, okay, there is this component of my heart, which is a lot of fear and anxiety, but I'm going to work on that this lifetime, then it's okay. I'm just going to keep working on that and getting better at understanding it, not attaching it, then it's a doable. But if you think, oh, there's fear again, I thought I was past fear, I didn't think I had any anxiety, then you're just caught in the thinking mind. But the feeling body, you trust that, trust in awareness, and then just see how it evolves. So when we talk about faith, it's not just faith in dogma, not just faith in some kind of being a Buddhist, it's faith in awareness, faith in knowing, faith in that kind of witnessing consciousness. All right, I'll leave that for your reflection. Next. You get the difficult gig, do you? You get the difficult one? Get that. Get you need water.
I'm fine, thanks.
You don't need?
Highly unlikely. You can use this, that's fine. It's already set up. Levels of Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namassami. So I'm billed to give a Thai talk, but I don't think I'll speak in Thai. There's it's a very diverse group, and I think pretty much all the Thai speakers here are also very comfortable in English, so that help everybody. Yes, it's been a beautiful day, and just having people come to the monastery, and of course having Ajahn Dhamma here with us. It's always a treat. I was reminding Ajahn Viradhammo that we first met in, it's like end of January, early February, 1974. There's probably lots of people who weren't even born then. So it's, we go back a long way. And it's always fun to have time together and to have him here. And, you know, I think for people to hear somebody like Ajahn Viradhammo just given perspectives and reflections that are gained from years and years, decades of practice, of study, of putting the teachings into daily life and putting them to the test. So that I do remember one time sitting with Ajahn Chah and Ajahn Viradhammo talking about, with Ajahn Chah, we were on a train together going down to Bangkok, sitting with Ajahn Chah. And talking about effort, talking about difficulties, talking about, you know, applying oneself, really applying oneself to practice, and the difficulties that come from that. And Ajahn Chah just sort of, can you not just learn how to practice like an earthworm? You're just trying to do so much and accomplish so much, and just put your head down and go like an earthworm. And Ajahn Chah, he was giving the whole sort of, that earthworms don't know where they're going, but they just keep going. Just put your head down and keep going. So it was just a wonderful, one is a beautiful image, but it was very typical of Ajahn Chah and his ability to use very very earthy similes, but also to encourage us, try to balance us, because so much of the practice is not about achieving, attaining, getting quote unquote somewhere. It's about learning how to be present, and that we keep overlooking that, and to be able to learn how to be present, and that and just as Ajahn Viradhammo was talking about that, the importance of coming back to that fundamental awareness. It's an insight that was very instrumental to Ajahn Chah's own practice, but also throughout the whole Thai forest tradition and Ajahn Mun's teaching. You hear it expressed by so many teachers of how important it was for them, and certainly for Ajahn Chah it was, but it's being able to pay attention and notice the difference between the mind and the objects of mind. And because the problem is we get entangled and caught up in the objects of mind. And the objects of mind are our likes, our dislikes, our things that we want, things that we don't want, things how we think it should be and how it shouldn't be. And so we're constantly bouncing back and forth between objects, and forgetting that underneath all that is the fundamental mind itself of knowing. just knowing, just being present, just being aware. This kind of quality of a spacious awareness. And that's accessible to all of us. It's not some special quality that you're going to get if you make enough merit and attend enough Kathinas and do all sorts of special practices. The special practice is just learning how to be present and not get caught in the objects of mind, in the objects of either our likes or our dislikes. And so it's something that's very simple, but sometimes it's really hard to do simple things, isn't it? So that's why it's so important to have good friendships, to draw yourself to good places, to be around good people, because we need that support. We need that foundation of stability in order to remind ourselves and to see more clearly just how transformative and liberating simple awareness actually is, a fundamental quality of knowing. So it is so important, and it's easy to get caught in doubt. It's easy to get caught in uncertainty. There's so many things we can doubt about, and if we can doubt about it, we will. And so, but that sense of reminding ourselves of what is fundamental, and to pay attention to what we actually have been doing. It's like anybody who's come here today and who's stayed for the Dhamma talk is interested in Dhamma. And it's easy to overlook or to not give yourself enough credit for it, but the reality is that one already is inclined and has the capacity for that knowing, and that one has been steeping oneself in those things that are truly good. What comes to mind is a sutta where it's actually the Buddha's cousin, Mahanama, who is a ruler of the Sakyan clan. He got saddled with the job after the Buddha took off. But he was very devoted, and he was seen as somebody who was he had some accomplishment. But even he was doubtful of himself. And he came to the Buddha one time and said, I'm just really worried. Sometimes I come in, my mindfulness isn't always sharp. My mindfulness isn't always so present. And what would, and if sometimes I come into town and there's all sorts of busyness and people, or what if, an elephant came rushing out and stampeded over me, or a horse galloped over me, or a chariot came along and ran me over. I don't know if I'd have the mindfulness. What would be my destination if I wasn't really fully aware and fully clear? And the Buddha was sort of, don't worry about this, Mahanama. Said, you've lived a life that has been steeped in faith. You've got confidence. You've been ethical. You've led a moral life. So you've drawn close to the teachings. You've been generous. You have that spirit of renunciation, and you have a reflective investigation. In Pali, it's saddha sila sutta jaka panya. So it's that sort of faith, virtue, study, generosity, and wisdom. And so that those qualities are considered fundamental to all of us who are practicing, is what we're actually cultivating already. And so that those are the qualities that give us a foundation. And then he said, when you've steeped yourself in that, you live that, your mind, your heart will go to distinction. And he said it's like, and the image he gave was, it's like a pot, like an earthen pot full of ghee that you take into a lake or a pond, and you drop it on the bottom, it hits a rock, the pot breaks into pieces, the oil rises to the surface. So that's just natural. He said in the same way, at death, the physical body will fall apart, but the heart will go to distinction. And so it's this steeping ourselves in these qualities and living like, which we've all been doing. So it's just a lot of it is just learning how to remind ourselves and to encourage ourselves, and to not be comparing ourselves, because we can always be better, and we can torture ourselves with trying to be better all the time. Which doesn't, obviously there's a middle way, a balance that needs to be struck. In that we do, we want to motivate ourselves and to encourage ourselves, but not to be beating ourselves up all the time or set unrealistic goals for ourselves that we feel frustrated by. So that the practice is one that we keep paying attention to, so that it nurtures and nourishes this heart of distinction, of clarity, of well-being. And certainly, so coming together on a day like today, if you leave here depressed and frustrated, I don't know what you've been doing. It's really uplifting. So so I delight in everybody's efforts to come and be here and to join in, and it's been quite wonderful to have a large gathering again. It's been a long time, so just to give my good wishes and blessings to everyone. Sadhu. Okay, so that ends the program for the day, and people want to spend more time here, more than welcome to check in on the monks, see how they're doing on the sewing. I'm going to check it out, see how they're doing. I haven't seen a hand-sewn Kathina robe ever happen before. So it's something that has started probably the last 4 or 5 years in our communities. I mean, of course, it's been going on since the time of the Buddha, but in our communities, there's been kind of a momentum to this hand sewing, and it's quite a lovely skill to be developing. And this past week they have been practicing, and so but everybody gets to work together, which is very nice. And then also, if people could give a hand so as we just to help sort of clean up, pick up cushions and set them aside and pack up the chairs and whatnot, give a hand, that'd be great. So take care, everyone. Two old men. Can I speak around here?